today's video, we're going to be modeling a really simple yet fun hard surface piece here in Blender. Let's get started. Now the tools I'm going to be using in this video are HardOps, Box Cutter, and I think that's it. Yeah, just those two. If you're brand new to Blender though, you might want to watch some of the more beginner-friendly tutorials on my channel, or you can take our free hard surface jumpstart course on our site. I'll link to that in the description as well, so whatever you prefer. But what I want to do is start with the default cube here in the Blender scene. So I'm going to press Shift A, add in a cube. We're going to go into side view, so I'll just press the tilde key and go into right view. And we're just going to kind of scale this. So scale it a bit on the Z, maybe press S, Y, and then 2 to scale it twice the size on the Y axis. Kind of like that. And then I'm going to press Control A to apply the scale, and maybe we could make this a little bit wider. Apply the scale again, and there we go. Now what I want to do is I want to take these two edges and bevel them with Control B, but I want to make sure the bevel is one segment, so we'll scroll down, go to about here, and then I want to take these two upper edges and scale them a bit on the X to about here. Maybe move these down a bit, and then bevel these. So we're going to give this a larger bevel, so just kind of scroll up on the segments like that. And now we're going to have this pretty cool, simple shape going on. Maybe make this a little bit larger like that. Now what I want to do here is I want to add a little bit more of a dynamic feel to this. So the way I'm going to do that, press Control R to add in a loop cut, right click, and then what we can do is just split this loop cut with Control B and just scroll down and kind of move these to about here. And then I'm just going to take these two edges on either side like that, and we'll just kind of move those down. That looks pretty cool. And then what I want to do is I want to take this set of edges as well and bevel those. So Alt Shift click both of those, and we're going to press Control B, and we're going to make a nice large bevel on this area as well. Kind of like that. And then one more time here on these corners, so Control B can go here. And just to make it easier, if you're using Mesh Machine or HardOps, you can just press Alt X, go to Symmetry, Symmetrize there, and then Symmetrize there. And now we have this really cool, simple shape. Now I actually want to mirror this on the Z axis, so I'm going to press Alt X and then I'm going to click there. And it's actually not going to mirror where I want it to, so let me change this back to mirror. And what I'm going to do is, let me see. So the reason it's doing that, it's kind of like collapsing, is because it's mirroring right over that origin point. So we need to kind of move this up a little bit higher, right to about there. And then if I mirror it now, we're going to have a much better result. But I need to make sure I'm actually mirroring this, not over the origin point, but over this 3D cursor instead. And to do that, we can press the Tab key to go into advanced mode. And then if we press the S key twice, that'll take us to cursor right here, just a nice little shortcut. And we'll just go ahead and mirror that. And now we're going to have this type of cool looking shape. And maybe we could even move this down a little bit. Maybe scale it a bit on the Z and just kind of play with the shape there. Just see what you like. I think this is pretty cool, but it's really up to you. I think this is a nice form. Then I'll just go ahead and apply that mirror modifier, and I think we'll be good to go here. Now what I want to do is start introducing some cool little elements onto this base shape that we have going on. So the first thing I could do is go into edge mode and alt click this set of edges. Now what happens is Blender doesn't actually know which ones to select all the way around. So if you have Mesh Machine, you could actually select an edge and then alt click the same edge again and turn on the sharp select feature, and that'll actually select it for you. Or what you could do is go up here to select and then select the sharp edges that way, because these are the only two sets of sharp edges here on the top and on the bottom. And what I want to do now is just bevel this and give this a really simple chamfer here on the top, kind of like that, not too big. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Now what I want to do is go into front view, so I'll press the tilde key and then go into front. What I want to do is take these sets of faces here, but I'm actually going to select them all first, then press the F key to fill them into one. Now check this out, with HardOps, what you can actually do is press Q, booleans and then go to selection to boolean. Move in and then click. We'll just kind of move this in a little bit to about there. And then I'm just going to press Alt V, turn cavity back on because sometimes cavity randomly turns off. Not sure why. Then we can go ahead and apply the solidify modifier as well. There we go. So I just want to take these 4 corners here on this little cutout, and I want to bevel those as well, just so it still looks nice and dynamic. So we'll just introduce a nice little bevel right there. Shift 2 to hide the cutter, and now we kind of have this cool little shape here on the side. And I could even use select this piece and then mirror it, so Alt X and then mirror, so that way it flips to the other side as well. Now I'm pretty happy with the result. I'm just going to go ahead and apply it because I already know I like how it looks. So I'm going to go here and let me apply this boolean. Then maybe what I could do is take this interior portion and bevel this, so that way it's a little bit more dynamic on the inside. Looks good. And then let me press Q and then Control Shift click on sharpen. What that's going to do is get rid of these random sharp markings on the ends of the bevels. So you can kind of see if I press Q, Control Shift click, that random line kind of goes away. See it? So very nice. And now we kind of have this shape. Now at this point we could begin to introduce a really large shape that's going to kind of complement the form at the same time. So let me go into top view and press Shift A and then go to cube. I'm going to kind of scale this down, move this back, scale it a bit on the Y. I don't want this to be centered, like half and half. So when I cut this, I don't want this to be, let me apply the mirror real quick. When I cut this, I don't want this to be dead in the center because that's going to actually violate 70-30, which I don't want. If you're not familiar with various design elements and things like that, we have a lot of content or courses on that subject on our site, and we also have a lot of videos discussing this type of stuff on our YouTube. So just search around for it, 70-30 principle, which basically states that you don't want to keep things super monotone in the center, like 50-50. You want to kind of bias these details more towards one side. So you'll see this a lot in more advanced designs. It just makes the form look a lot cooler, really. So what we're going to do is just take this cutter, we'll ever scroll, and we'll just scale that a bit on the Y and then move this back. So now we're kind of biasing this detail more towards this upper third right here. It's going to look a lot better. Let me press Control A to apply the scale, and now all I want to do is take these edges and then just bevel them with Control B. So maybe I'll bevel these first, and then these back ones I can bevel last, but make these a lot larger. Move it back a bit. I think that looks pretty cool. And you know what I'm going to do real quick? I'm going to apply this boolean, but I want it to go into vertex mode here, and then into wireframe, and just pull this entire half a little bit more towards this way, and then I'll just symmetrize it to the other side. So Alt X, symmetry, just so that way I have a little bit more room here in the center, and it's not the same length in the center as these cutouts are. I think it'll look better. Cool, so now we have this shape going on. So just like I usually do, I love to introduce chamfers in areas where it's going to look good. So what I'm going to do in this case is select an edge. I'm going to alt click it with mesh machine. That'll select around because just alt clicking won't work in this case. Then I'm just going to press Control B to bevel that, but unfortunately we kind of have a mess here, so it's going to kind of start overlapping right when I start beveling. See what I mean? Now what I could do is turn off the loop slide feature. Sometimes that'll help it, but not in this case. So what I'm going to do instead is press Y, go to offset cut with mesh machine. If you don't have mesh machine, you should definitely get it. And then that'll just give us a nice little buffer here to add our chamfer. And just to clean up that shading, we need to recalculate the auto smooth value. So if I just shift click on sharpen, that'll fix it for us. Now I might as well just run another mirror modifier, so that way everything I do over here will be mirrored to this side, so I can just focus on one side really. So I definitely like how this looks, but I think we could introduce some cool additional elements here. So maybe I'll go into box cutter with the D key. We'll use the regular box cutter option here. What I'm going to do is run a really simple small cutout, kind of like that. Maybe I'll scale it a bit on the Y so it's not so large, but you know, something like that could be cool. I could just kind of move this and see like which areas look better. Sometimes I'll even turn off overlays and just press Control Z and then Control Shift Z just to see which positioning I prefer. In this case, I think this looks a little bit better. This kind of makes this look more like there's some handles right here, kind of implying a functional element. Compared to if this is too high up, it almost kind of blends in with the model, and these types of handles don't really look like handles any longer. So the slightest adjustment in placement, which is why I focus so heavily on placement, can really completely change the overall look of your design. So I'm just going to leave that there. I think it looks good. Now what I want to do is, what could I do in this case? Let me apply the Boolean, then apply the mirror as well. And I just should have an edge straight down through the center here. If you don't, you can actually run a symmetry across that axis, and that'll automatically add an edge through the center there. What I want to do with that is Alt-click it, bevel it with Control B, and we're just going to kind of scale this in a bit. So to do that, I'm going to press E to extrude, right-click to cancel the extrusion, and then Alt-S to scale inwards a little bit. And now we're going to kind of have this cool looking line or whatever. Now maybe I beveled that too far. Make this a bit smaller. E to extrude, right click, and then Alt S. I think that looks a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. You don't want to go too crazy on these details because, for example, if I made this crazy large, if I did something like this, it doesn't fit. You see what I mean? So you want to be really careful with these types of elements that you add in. This is meant to complement the design, not distract from it. Cool. Now at this point what I could do is introduce some more tertiary details. I guess I haven't really added in technically a secondary level, but in this case we could add some really small details here on the side just to kind of complement the looks to it. So I'm going to go into box cutter here, and I could get away with many different locations, but maybe like right here. We'll cut in, make sure I'm not in wedge cut mode, press the W key, make sure I'm just going up and down. And then I'll press a B to bevel it, and then enter to lock that in. And what we'll do is just run a quick mirror. Make sure we're set to modifier, mirror over here, and then to that side as well. And now we kind of have this cool looking shape. Just makes it look a little bit more like an actual, mechanical element, right? You see what I mean? Just kind of pops like something you see in real life. So at this point, let me apply the Boolean first, then the mirror. And there's one final thing I want to do to this shape. I want to go into edit mode, fill these in just like we did on this side. We'll just fill that into 1. As a matter of fact, what I could do is select this entire portion with a circle key, press C for that. So go from here all the way to here, press F to fill it, and then I'm going to go back to the selection to Boolean feature again, kind of pull that in, and we're just going to cut all the way through. Turn cavity back on with Alt V, and now we're going to have this. Now let me quickly select this piece, press Q and then ever scroll, and just apply the solidify modifier here on this cutter. Now what I want to do is just bevel these corners, but if I try to bevel it, I don't have too much room to do so. So let me dissolve out these edges that are kind of in the way with Control X. So dissolve that and that. And then we should be able to bevel these, make it look a bit nicer. And there we go, we have a really clean mesh here. Now what I would like to do is do a really simple and basic render. This will only take like 2 or 3 minutes. So usually what I do, I have a ton of videos on rendering, but I'm going to do it in this video anyways. What I'd like to do is go into rendering mode, make sure we're in cycles, and I'm just going to load in an HDRI. So click here and go to environment texture, and I'm going to load in the abandoned slipway HDRI from polyhaven.com. It's a free one and you can download it on their website. So I'm just going to select it. I have a ton of HDRIs here, by the way, but I'm going to use abandoned slipway. It's a nice simple overcast, so the lighting's pretty neutral, which I like. And then what I can do is I can add in, with hard ops, what I usually do is press Alt M, and then I just kind of cycle through these different materials until I find one I like. This one's really clean. This one's set to metallic. Roughness is pretty low, so that'll be a nice metal looking thing. And then what I can do is add in a plane. Make sure this plane is sitting right on the bottom there. I can really scale this up And just like I did with the piece, we'll press Alt-M and cycle through some different materials here as well. And I could even make some adjustments if I need to. So if you want to change like the roughness or whatever, you can do that, or you can even change like, the color. I'm just going to keep it how it is because this is actually a pretty clean material here. And then just for a really basic render, all you need to do is press Shift A and load in a camera. I'm going to set my resolution here. It's set to 2560 by 1440, so 16:9 ratio. Then if I go here to View, Align View, and then Align Active Camera to View, kind of move this around. If I want to zoom it out, I can press a G and then the Z key twice, and that'll kind of let me kind of zoom that out. If you want to adjust the focal length, you can also change this. The higher you go, the more of an orthographic view you're going to have, so sometimes that'll be a pretty good idea. But in terms of rendering and composition and camera angles and things like that, this is something that takes practice, and we have a ton of videos on this, so I'm not going to go too deep into how to render and how to get a good composition. You can research that stuff on our channels, especially Ryu's channel. So maybe we'll just do, I think 135 was fine, but honestly 50 was fine as well. It just kind of depends on the type of look you're going for. Sometimes you might want to even get like a lower angle here. You don't want to go too far, otherwise we get this HDRI reflection, but somewhere in this territory is pretty good. But ultimately, you're going to have to just go in here and find an angle that works for you, one that you like. And this will just take a lot of time. Sometimes you just have to sit with it and just play with it and see what you like. Now, if you made it to the end of the video, then thanks for watching. But I do want to mention real quick that our brand new topology handbook is now available on our website, and it's free. So if you're new to hard surface modeling, or even advanced in hard surface modeling, this is going to be a very valuable resource to deal with those tricky topology situations that you'll run into. So I'll link that in the description as well. Like I said, it's completely free, and I think you'll get a lot of value out of it. But anyways, that's it for this video. Thanks a bunch for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.